We're hosting 30 people for Shabbat this weekend. Come along with me and I'll share with you my process, my menu, and all of these delicious recipes. Let's roll up our sleeves and let's get prepping. As a working mom, Shabbat Prep starts for me on Wednesday, where I write out my menu plan, so I'm all set to work on Thursday. I tend to start off with things that I can just put into the oven and forget about, like these croutons. I had sourdough left over, chopped them up, seasoned them with my favorite seasoning. Every time I make it, it's a little bit different. Salt, black pepper, paprika, and oil, and just like that, at 450 degrees until they're nice and crunchy. Then while that's out already, I'm going to be making my eggplant salad. I oil the pan, add in the eggplants, oil them again. Use a nice amount of oil so they could look nice and not dehydrated. Then I have another eggplant salad on my stovetop. This is a quote-unquote fire roasted eggplant salad, but I no longer do it on my stovetop. I do it in the pan and I haven't gone back. It is absolutely amazing. I scoop up all of the flesh and put that to the side. Moving right along to my Moroccan salmon. I have some garlic in there, jalapenos, red peppers, some tomato paste with some chickpeas as well. Mix all of that up, add in water, let it come to a boil, add in your salmon, or you could use any other type of white fish that you enjoy. I top the salmon with some sliced lemon, season it with some salt and onion salt as well. I've been loving adding onion salt to everything. It like replaces consomme for me. So it's definitely a delicious treat. I'm going to be making the paprika sauce now. So I have about half a cup of oil with some paprika and turmeric. I would say 2 tablespoons of paprika and 1 tablespoon of turmeric. Mix all of that up and add that to the top of the fish and finish it off with some cilantro. And because I'll be having such a large group of people for Saturday for lunch, I'm going to be making a completely separate fish just so that I can ensure that I have enough for everyone. I season it with some salt, black pepper, paprika, garlic powder, spray it with a little bit of oil, cover it with some parchment paper and foil, and bake that in the oven at 400 degrees for about 30 minutes. While that's cooking, I'm getting started on marinating my chicken thighs. I spray a little bit of oil just so that the seasoning can stick, add in some salt, some onion salt again, paprika, and then I crush in some garlic that I have frozen that I've already minced. I add that all to the top and mush everything around so that all the seasoning gets everywhere. I then place the chicken into a preheated oven set at 400 degrees for about an hour and 15 minutes. Once the fish is out, I add in the mustard vinaigrette over the top. This is by far one of my favorite fish. Look at this Moroccan salmon. How delectable does that look? The chicken is also done, and I'm going to get started on my sourdoughs. I take them out, make them into their beautiful shapes, and place them into their bannetons. I'll never get over how therapeutic sourdough making is. I just enjoy the whole process. I'm placing them into the fridge so that they can grow and get fluffy. Now on to making my stuffed onion filling. In a food processor, I process 1 onion, 1 apple, 1 tomato. I add in half a bunch of cilantro, some tomato sauce, about 1 cup's worth, about 2 pounds of ground beef, some onion salt, mix all of that up and put that to the side. Now I'm going to be making some delicious baked beans. I got this recipe from Sarah Lassery. It starts off with 2 packets of bacon, which is beef bacon. It's absolutely delicious, and this is my second time making it, and we thoroughly enjoyed it this Shabbat. All I do is chop it up, put it into my skillet, fry that up, and simultaneously I have the onions boiling for my stuffed onions. To that, I'm adding in sauteed onions and get that nice and golden. When hosting, I do like to incorporate some sort of rice component. So I have here 2 cups of basmati rice that I've washed and drained. I place that into my baking tray, added in about 3.5 cups of water, and I jazzed it up with a little bit of salt, turmeric, and black pepper with about 3 tablespoons of oil. Mix, cover, and bake at 400 degrees for 40 minutes. The onions and bacon have sauteed nicely. I'm dropping in about 2.5 to 3 pounds of ground beef, sauteing that and adding in 2 cans of the Bush's baked beans. So this recipe has been doubled because I'm having such a large crowd, but you can totally half this recipe and you're going to enjoy it. You make this special secret sauce, add that in, and bake it for about an hour at 400 degrees. After 40 minutes, the basmati rice is perfectly cooked. All I need to do is fluff it up. Now that the onions have boiled, I'm stuffing them with the filling that we've made earlier. Now on to the side dishes. I made some corn because we're going to be having a few kids. And then I made a little bit of my viral string bean recipe that I have already posted, which I'll link below. And lately I've been in the mood of making lemony green peas. So I just sauteed some onion and garlic and I drop in the peas. I've been enjoying them with a lot of lemon juice, garlic, and salt. I add all that in, mix it well, and that's done. These roasted garlic, quote-unquote, butter potato have been a hit in our house every single week. We are absolutely obsessed. They're so delicious. I'll link the recipe below. For the main meat component for Shabbat lunch, I'm making pastrami corned beef. It cooks overnight in the crock pot and is so versatile. That's why I like making it. I can serve it sliced on a large platter, turn it into some tacos, or even make meat pizzas with it. To prepare it, I simply place large chunks of onions to the bottom of the crock pot, add in the marinated pastrami, fill it with some water, and let it cook overnight. I get mine from either Bingo or Kosher. It's a few hours before Shabbat begins, which means it's sourdough baking time. I love baking my sourdoughs as close to Shabbat as possible, especially now that the sunset is much later. That way they're fresh, crispy, and absolutely perfect for the meal. Just look at those baked beans. They came out so incredible. It was definitely our guests' favorite thing, and I can't wait to make them again. Quick cooking tip: chop all of your herbs ahead of time and store them in a glass container lined with some paper towels. It keeps them fresh for so much longer, and you don't have to stop and chop some up as you're making your salads for Shabbat. They're just all there. Friday afternoons are when I make the bulk of my Shabbat salads. I'm starting off with my broccoli salad recipe is linked in the description box. Definitely check it out. It's one of our favorites. For the cauliflower salad, I used the frozen bodeg cauliflower, and then I added in chopped red peppers, a can of corn, fresh herbs, garlic, salt and pepper, and mayonnaise. Mix that well and place them into my glass bowls to put into the fridge. Time to assemble the eggplant salad. For the dressing, it's very simple. I'm combining a 1/4 cup of oil, a 1/4 cup of vinegar, and a 1/4 cup of maple syrup. Add in 2 cloves of crushed garlic, salt, and pepper. I mix that well, and then add in chopped red peppers and a lot of fresh herbs. I then spoon the mixture over each eggplant slice. Remember the roasted eggplant from earlier? Let's finish it off now. Place it on a cutting board, add in a crushed garlic clove and some salt, then chop it until it's completely smooth and silky with no large pieces remaining. My gorgeous sourdough loaves are out of the oven now and are looking absolutely incredible. This is the moment I look forward to all week. And for a special Shabbat treat this week, I decided to make oxtails. We definitely don't make this often, but it's definitely a favorite, especially the kids. They love dipping in sourdough and eating that sticky sauce that comes out of it. I'm just finishing it off now with some potatoes. My girls are in the kitchen with me now too. Miriam is making osfo and Aviva is making her brownies. I just remembered I have a few things to defrost, so I'm taking out Shai's oatmeal cookies that he made last week, some chocolate babka, and some challah for Friday night and Saturday. Back into the kitchen to make the few final last touches. I'm making this avocado mousse that is a staple in our house. We cannot have Shabbat without it. Checking in on the osvo, which looks gorgeous and ready. The stuffed onions are perfectly cooked as well. Everything is slowly coming together and we're so excited. To get ahead of the game for Saturday prep, I tried to make a few salad dressings that I could just take out of the fridge and whip up quickly. So I'm whipping up my Caesar salad dressing. It's just mayo, mustard, soy sauce, garlic, onion soup mix. I mix all of that so that everything is all set to go for tomorrow. I already have my croutons ready, so all I'll have to do is combine all of the ingredients. Next, I made Zena's white cabbage salad dressing with some toasted seeds and nuts. All of that is ready as well for me to whip up quickly on Saturday right before lunch. Lastly, I'm making the dressing for my purple cabbage salad. It's just oil, vinegar, salt, sugar, and a black pepper. There are just certain salads that I'm worried will go very well on a Friday and I'll have nothing for Saturday. So this is why I prep things like the dressings ahead of time. And for those of you who follow me on Instagram, you know exactly what I'm doing. I'm making my celery juice and my heavy metal detox smoothie is already in the fridge for Shabbat because I can't do this fresh on Shabbat, obviously. I just generally share a little bit more personal items on Instagram in my stories. So if you don't follow me there yet, definitely check me out. Well, that's a wrap. I'm finally done and ready for Shabbat. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you learned some new recipes. Wanted to wish you a beautiful, restful, rejuvenating Shabbat with your friends and family surrounding your table.